welcome into the Cronkite studios. Happy Friday. This is Cronkite Sports Live, and look at this. We got a new anchor pairing. Andrew Chapman alongside Bailey O'Carroll. Bailey, we're teamed up this week. Our partners are out covering a little thing called the Final Four this weekend. I say, who needs them? We got ASU sports to talk about.
Yeah, it's a ton of ASU sports. Exciting stuff.
Right. And I'll tell you what, though. It's been a cool scene in the Valley with the Final Four in town. And, even though the Final Four has, been here and college basketball is hyped up, to be honest, it's given some energy to the area that Arizona State basketball never really could. So with people traveling from all over, our crew, Rob Werner and Blaine McCormick, hit the streets on Mill Avenue in Tempe to find some characters hyped for the tourney and getting the party started early for our latest edition of Street and Greet.
What's up, everybody? We're here in downtown Phoenix talking to folks about the Final Four. I'm Blaine McCormick. He's Rob Werner. Rob, we met some pretty interesting people on this windy night. Who's your favorite out of all of them?
I got to go with the guys that were by the bar. They told me they were having a fantastic evening. One of them didn't even know who was playing in one of the games he's going to this weekend. He said that he thought Gonzaga and South Carolina were going to play in the national championship. Those guys were just having a good time. I had fun interviewing them.
You'll see all of those guys and more. Street and Greet starts right now.
I'm from Florida, and I came here for the Final Four, which is a great event every year.
Tracy, and I'm from Hartford, Connecticut.
And Ed, I'm from Hartford as well.
Kenny.
Spencer. Trey.
JR, what are you doing out here in downtown Phoenix?
I'm just down here for the Final Four.
So talking to Max here on the top of his monster truck. Max, are you excited for this weekend? Final Four, baby. What more could you want?
I'm pumped, man. Phoenix has held a lot of sporting events, but college basketball is definitely up there.
Did you fill a bracket out this year?
Under NCAA rules, I was not allowed to do that.
You give 110% all year, and you just hope you're playing in the Final Four, so we're proud of these guys. We want them all to win, but only one winner.
Very excited.
Did you guys get your brackets busted at all?
So I just do the brackets to keep up with the teams. I've got it in my hotel room, and I'll mark it till the end.
Are you excited now just to kind of get to be a fan for the next couple games and just kind of appreciate some great basketball on display?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up playing basketball myself, so I really love and appreciate the sport, especially this time of the year, because these college kids, they play like it's their last game, and you don't really get to see that all the time, so it's really good to watch.
Who'd you have winning?
Arizona, where we at, man?
I told you that wasn't going to work. They ain't been in the Final Four in years.
You got to pick them because they're in there. Anybody can. It's one and done.
Who do you guys see in your final?
South Carolina. Just one team? And let's take South Carolina and Gonzaga.
Sometimes they're wrong.
They're playing each other. They play each other.
Oh, South Carolina, Oregon. That's the winner.
All right, there you go. That worked.
No way. It's going to be Gonzaga, Carolina.
No, they're both wrong. It's Carolina's game.
I'm an upset guy. I'm like South Carolina,
One-timers.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see some one-timers.
I saw a statistic the other day that, North Carolina coach has been there like 500 hours of Final Four experience, and the other 3 coaches, 0.
And are you guys having a good time in Phoenix so far? Are you guys pumped for the whole weekend?
Great time, pumped, man. Love these guys. Know where I'd rather be.
Honestly, from Ohio, it's a little hot here. Don't like it. Just kidding. Phoenix rules!
Very excited. Very excited.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Basketball trend, the West Coast typically isn't well represented in the final rounds of the NCAA tournament. This March is a little bit different. There are 2 West Coast teams, including a Pac-12 team in Oregon. For a look at how that will impact the rest of Pac-12 basketball, we bring in Nick Sheehy.
Thanks, guys. When the Oregon Ducks cut the net last weekend, it would mark the first time a Pac-12 school advanced to the Final Four in 9 years. But don't let that be an indicator of how elite the Conference of Champions has been on the court this season. 2017 Pac-12 champions U of A Wildcats finished with a record of 32-5. Bruins basketball came back to prominence as freshman phenom and Wooden Award finalist Lonzo Ball turned heads of NBA scouts all season. 2 Pac-12 point guards in Ball and Washington's Markelle Fultz are projected to be the top 2 picks in the NBA draft. But back to this weekend. Will the national championship go to the Carolinas or head west to Gonzaga or Oregon? Only one team has entered the Final Four with a better average point differential in the last 20 years than the one-loss Gonzaga Bulldogs. In the Ducks tournament run, Oregon guard Tyler Dorsey's averaging 23 points, and forward Jordan Bell's averaging 12 boards. With those guys coming in hot off a monster game mixed with Dylan Brooks, the ceiling is the roof for the Ducks versus Tar Heels. Regardless of what happens in Phoenix this weekend, it's time to respect that some college basketball's best is in the West. And that's it for this week's Impact segment. Back to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Nick. We go from college basketball, one Nick to another. We have our ASU beat writer, Nick Batters, here in studio. And Nick, big series coming up, UCLA coming into town. Let's chat about that in just a moment. First, last year, ASU was deemed the comeback devils for how many walk-off, game-winning hits they had. This year, they're starting to build a similar trend. This Tuesday, UNLV in town, Barry Bonds night, and it was Tyler Williams channeling some inner Barry Bonds, hitting a game-winning home run. This is becoming a trend once again. How is this team doing it? What do you attribute it to?
Well, you mentioned Tyler Williams. He wears number 25 for ASU. That's the same number that Barry Bonds wore in his great career with the Giants. And like, again, you said, ASU, they've continued right where they left off this year with being a very strong team in the late innings. Already 2 walk-offs this year. And this is a team that's been instilled by Tracy Smith, their head coach, a manner of being tough in those late innings, and something really just clicks for them. They are the comeback kids. They're 9-5 when their opponent scores first. They're only 2-7 when they score first. They have more home runs and runs per game when their opponent scores first. So it's almost as if they want their opponent to score first. This is a team, they've had a very shaky start to the season, and we're almost halfway through the season. But like you were saying, this is a team that is very good coming from behind. Something clicks in them. There's a fire in their belly. They want to win, and that's putting them in a good position going forward.
You look at those numbers. Those are not normal baseball numbers. If you look at common trends, it's also not characteristic of a young team like ASU is to come back in late innings. Who is stepping up as some veterans in the leadership core, and who's kind of rallying the guys in the dugout?
Well, last year, one of the veteran leaders was catcher Brian Servin. He has since departed for the draft, and that left a void on this team. This is a young team. They only have 3 senior players, and one of those senior players that stepped up recently is also a catcher, and that's Zach Serbo. He played in 25 games last year in a backup role, and this year he has quickly assumed the starting role. He's only played in 15 games, but he already has more hits, runs, and runs batted in than he did last year. A very good trend. In that Long Beach State series that closed out non-conference play, he had 2 hits in the first game, he had a home run in that second game, and he is nabbed the starting catcher role cinch, which is especially impressive considering that they have 3 freshman catchers on the team, 2 of those being very good young freshman catchers in Sam Ferry and Lyle Lynn.
Wow, so Tracy Smith has to be impressed with his senior catcher. As we mentioned, top of the segment, UCLA in town. The eyes are on college basketball, but when it comes to college baseball, got to keep playing. So out at Phoenix Muni this weekend, UCLA has had a long history with the Sun Devils. How do you see this series transpiring, and who are you looking at in this series to come up big for the Sun Devils?
So this is going to be a fun series because UCLA is a team that's coming off a 5-game winning streak, or I should say coming into the series on a 5-game winning streak. And in the middle of that 5-game winning streak was a 3-game series with Cal, which they swept. And in that game, or in the 3rd game rather, UCLA beat Cal 20-0. Now ASU, they had that midweek game on Tuesday. They're coming off a 3-game series against USC, but this is a team that has the potential to be have timely bats. They have good pitching. Their Friday night starter going tonight, Eli Lingos, he has produced quality starts in every single one of his contests. So for ASU, it's going to be up to the bats and to provide run support for their starting pitching. You have guys like Chaz Montoya, who has now assumed the Saturday starter role. A lot of strong pitching. The bats need to be there to step up. And the defense. This is a team, if they stop and think about the plays that they're making, they can have some of the strongest defense in the Pac-12.
All right. Historical series between the Bruins and the Sun Devils getting going tonight at Phoenix Muni, 6:30 p.m. First pitch. As Nick mentioned, Eli Lingos takes the ball for the Sun Devils. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you.
And from the baseball diamond to the lacrosse field, ASU lacrosse is ranked number 8, and their game today against number 3 GCU has the potential to make or break their playoff seeding. The team has been on an absolute tear as of late, but as we all know, rivalries are always unpredictable. If the Sun Devils can pull out a victory, it gives them a better opportunity to make a deeper run come playoff time.
Thanks, guys. Well, we're here at Grand Canyon University to talk some lacrosse. Ethan, ASU's off to a 5-game win streak. What more can you tell us about the recent success?
Yeah, Arizona State men's lacrosse on the 5-game win streak. I think this team has finally found their identity, and head coach Todd McGraby's talked about the lacrosse IQ all season, and the players are definitely playing smarter to lacrosse. Now, the offense has just become absolutely explosive as of late. The young defense has proven they could be stout when they need to. And you can't forget about sophomore goalkeeper Johnny Perlity has been an absolute stud in net for this Sun Devils lacrosse team.
Yeah, and speaking of sophomore Jake Martins, he leads the team in goals scored. What more can you tell us about this young gun and his leadership and what he means to the team?
Yeah, Jake the Snake Martins has been an absolute just incredible player this season. 24 goals. He's definitely the finisher for this team, leading the offense. The players know that he could score. They get him the ball, he takes that final shot. And the offense likes to spread the ball around. Everybody gets good touches, and Jake Martins just, his team believes in him, and he's cashing in when he needs to.
Now, this ASU and GCU rivalry is pretty intense, to say the least. What more can you tell us about what ASU is trying to accomplish with a win tonight?
Yeah, number 8 ASU taking on number 3 GCU. Doesn't get any better than this for MCLA lacrosse. The Lopes actually are leading the overall series since the MCLA started back in 2005, 4-3. So the Sun Devils looking to even up the series. They lost last season to GCU, and in 2015, the Lopes stole the SOC championship game right out from underneath the Sun Devils by a goal. So look for the Sun Devils to come out with intensity, looking for revenge, playing with a lot of fiery passion to even up this series back at 4 apiece.
Yeah, it should be an intense one, a very interesting one tonight. Right here for GCU, that's Ethan Schmidt. I'm Austin Burnett. Back to you guys.
Hey, thanks so much, guys, out at the lacrosse field. Well, with the Final Four in town, all the national media has been pouring into the Valley, so it's made things a little bit more difficult for our social media man, Chaz Frazier. A lot to sift through this week, Chaz. What do you have for us? What have you been avoiding? There's some fake news out there around this time, too. You know?
There's a little bit, but this time, this week, we're going to start this segment off with a little father-son rivalry. I know everyone has one of their own, but this one's between Tracy Smith, the head coach of the baseball team, and Jack Smith. He plays on the football team. He tweeted at his pops, "Hey, do you think you can beat me at horse?" And of course, Tracy Smith said, "Yes, I can. Yes, I already have. I'm going to pull a little LeVar Ball here. I've never lost a rivalry to my father, but hey, don't call him about that, all right?"
I mean, the Skip is an athletic guy. You know, he's start of the season, he's throwing BP to the media. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Keep in mind, this guy comes from Indiana, which has been a highly respected basketball program for a number of seasons. I'm sure he picked up a thing or two while he was at Indiana. Of course, I'm sure he's talked with Bobby Hurley a time or two when he's been here as well. I would not be surprised if the guy's a decent competitor on the basketball court. I don't know if Jack Smith has a chance.
Yeah, he does. Speaking about hoops, let's take it to this next week where Rob's tweeted out about Jethro Tshumpa. He said the news was in that Jethro Tshumpa was leaving. My question is this going to be the new hashtag? Hashtag these recruits ain't loyal? Because we've seen Sam Cutliff, but now Jethro Tshumpa. What do you guys think?
Seems like it's kind of been a common theme. It only happened twice, but you know, for Bobby Hurley and his staff, you kind of hope that it doesn't continue, because maybe if it does, there's a bit of a problem there, underlying issue that, you know, needs to kind of come to the surface.
Yeah, it's been a shaky start for Bobby Hurley, to say the least, you know, losing 2 of his big recruits. But he's got a lot of good guys coming in as well, a couple of, like 5 big guys, Remy Martin, the new point guard, of course, which he's bringing in. I think Bobby Hurley's going to finally get a grasp on this program and make it fully his. And once he does, he'll be able to really work on his individual relationships with players, because a lot of the time that's kind of what's lacking when you see a player transfer, among other things. So you never want to judge a player based on his transfer, but I still think they'll be okay in the end.
There you go. Fair assessment. Yeah. Lastly, keeping it with the player that ASU is not having trouble to keep, Austin Withrow. He's back at it again on social media, arguing with food establishments. This time it's with Whataburger, talking about he waited 30 minutes for his food, and you won't believe it. Whataburger tweeted back saying it's best when the Twitter fingers turn to chicken fingers. Hashtag just saying. And then he replied back, "Hey, my chicken fingers could have made the burger faster." Apparently he waited for 40 minutes.
I mean, guys, we work in the media. You know, we have those long nights where we need to grab a quick bite to eat. You know, 2 a.m. But sometimes on the weekends, half of Tempe's trying to go to Whataburger as well, get their late night fix. It can take a while, yeah, Bailey?
Yeah, I mean, I've waited longer than 30 minutes at Whataburger, so, it's to be expected.
This guy clearly has the...
he has the pull. It's impressive because this is, I think, the second or third time that a food establishment has actually responded to him on Twitter.
That's what I call fast food new media connection.
Hey, that's what it is.
All right, thanks, Chaz. Now on to women's basketball. Charlie Turner-Thorne and her squad had a bit of an off year, but they look to be back to their regular selves come tournament time. The young team only lost to #1 seeded South Carolina by 3 points. Showing just what they are capable of, and with a bit more experience under their belts, this team has the potential to go very deep come next March.
Charlie Turner-Thorne just finished her 20th season as ASU women's basketball head coach, with a pair of Pac-12 championships to go along with 2 Pac-12 Coach of the Year awards, 12 NCAA tournament appearances, and being the winningest coach in Sun Devil women's basketball history. I guess you could say she knows a thing or two about success. What sets her apart? 2 things: her undying passion for the game and obsessive preparation.
I work pretty much every day of my life. I take maybe a week or 2 off a year, but that's what I feel like I have to do to be the best that I can be. If I don't have the passion, if it starts to die out, then I'll definitely stop coaching. But so far, I still have it, and I'm definitely one of the most competitive people in the universe. Although I try to have that with humility. But, I think those things kind of drive me.
Arizona State senior forward Sophie Bruner believes Turner-Thorne is in a league of her own when it comes to her work ethic and dedication.
That's the biggest thing I think she does different than any other coach I've ever had, is she prepares more than anyone I know. She watches more film, I believe, than any coach in the country, and she knows the team inside and out better than anyone. So that makes us very confident in her and knowing that the game plan's going to work. Her passion for the game, is pretty remarkable, and like I said, she just loves it. So yeah, it kind of relays to us and just creates a love for the game in us, all of us. And when she gets pumped, we get pumped. So it's kind of contagious.
To make sure the Sun Devils were mentally prepared for the Pac-12 tournament, Turner-Thorne had a simple message for her team going into postseason play.
I think our biggest thing is just, no regrets. Give it everything that you have. Prepare, work hard. I think, I told them, like, when people get really old, maybe I'm not quite that old, I'm not on my deathbed yet, but most people, you regret the things you didn't do, not the things you did do. And I just, we're just encouraging them to just lay it all out there. Don't hold anything back.
In the past 2 decades, Arizona State has become a women's basketball powerhouse in the Pac-12. And with Charlie Turner-Thorne at the helm, it's safe to say the program is in good hands. For Cronkite Sports, I am Eliav Kabay.
Well, let's keep it in the gym, where ASU Gymnastics finished their season on a high note with their highest Pac-12 tournament score since 2004. For one Gym Devil, though, the season is not over. That's co-captain Nichelle Christopherson, who will compete on the NCAA regional meet on Saturday. Christopherson will be an individual event qualifier on the balance beam, her specialty, and is an alternate on bars. The meet is tomorrow at 2 p.m. from the University of Arkansas. Here's Nichelle on her big day coming.
It's going to be sad, honestly. I rely on my team for so much, just for so much support, and it's just so much more fun, having your team back there with you, and it'll be different, but, I just got to hold it together, and hopefully they're watching. I'm sure they will be.
And now on to softball. The women's team is coming off of a big win at Oregon State this past weekend, and they're keeping it in Oregon, look to continue that momentum. For more, we bring in Michael Barron. Michael, what challenges does this #3 ranked Oregon team present for ASU?
Well, in particular with Oregon, it's really a pick your poison type thing. Like you said, they're ranked #3 in the country, and you could really go with pitching or offense, but I'll keep it with pitching. Their pitching staff has been one of the most dominant in all of the NCAA. Right now, they have an average ERA of 1.04, so it's been very impressive. In fact, one of their pitchers in particular, Maggie Balint, is 14-0 right now with a .97 ERA. She has already hit the century mark in strikeouts, exactly 100, as opposed to just 13 walks. And on top of all that, she is just a freshman. So it could present ASU some problems with her out on the mound as well as her teammates when they try to go up to bat this weekend in Eugene.
And it sounds like it's going to be a tough one for the Sun Devils. Do you think there's any chance that they pull out a win at all?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, but on 2 conditions. Number 1, no untimely errors. They cannot have unforced errors against this Oregon team in particular. We've seen ASU try to get a little bit aggressive defensively, especially on ground balls and bunts in particular. When you have a speedy runner at the plate and just as soon as the ball is off the bat, she's going. She's trying to get down to first base as quickly as possible. So when you field the ball and when that runner is almost over at first base, it's going to be kind of complicated to catch her anyway, even if the throw is on target. So just a really quick grab and throw could be possibly off target. It could go in the right field. It could go into the dugout. So on those types of plays in particular, sometimes you just got to take the conservative play, just put it in the pocket, and just try to work the next batter, try to set up maybe even a double play situation if there's 0 outs or 1 out potentially. And number 2, the seniors need to keep their hot hitting going. Shortstop Chelsea Gonzalez and catcher Sasha Palacios were both extremely hot during the 5-game homestand. Combined 9 home runs and 20 RBIs. In fact, Sasha Palacios is on a 5-game home run streak right now. She had 6 total during the homestand. And as you can see from the graphic right here coming up on the screen, Gonzalez is hitting .380 on the year, which leads the team overall, and they're both tied for home runs right now. But just during this last homestand, they were able to get some good offensive work in. They usually hit 4 or 5, Gonzalez in the 4 spot and Palacios in the 5 spot. So if the 1, 2, and 3 hitters can get some timely hits and draw some walks, it could set up well for ASU this weekend. And I'm thinking maybe with some solid pitching, they might be able to pull an upset in Eugene. They might be able to take one of those games.
All right, sounds like might be a tough one for the Sun Devils up there in Oregon this weekend, but you never know. It's sports. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the world of college sports. If March Madness hasn't taught us that, I don't know what has.
All right, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, I guess. Thanks, Michael.
So at the track for the Pac-12 versus Big Ten Invitational last weekend, the men's 4x100 relay came down to a photo finish, but between a pair of Pac-12 schools, ASU and U of A. Draylon Bramwell on the final leg edged out Arizona by 8/100ths of a second. It also set a new record for the 4x100 event at this invitational, taking the top time from who else but the Arizona Wildcats. You really can't make this stuff up. So let's go ahead and give you a peek at what's upcoming for a meet for ASU track and field. They are in Palo Alto today and tomorrow for the Stanford Invitational. And then next week they get rolling on Thursday for the 38th Sun Angel Classic.
All right, time for the way it is. You
Yeah.
know the deal. We both ask each other 3 questions with a quick answer, and the producers will pick a winner.
Yeah, don't test my track and field knowledge. I had to research that prior.
All right, well, we'll start it off with baseball. How
Okay.
important is that UCLA series for this ASU team?
Well, you know, we just had Nick in here earlier, and he was talking about how important this one is for ASU. I think all the Final Four attention, taking some eyeballs off of college baseball, actually helped the Sun Devils a bit. They're at home. It'll give them some focus against really a middle-tier team in the Pac-12 right now, but UCLA still, under John Savage, is always a good program. I think they can take 2 of 3 games right now because of their freshman starter, Chaz Montoya, a lefty out of the state of Arizona who has been incredibly hot as of recently. I think he gets that Saturday night win, and I like Eli Lingos tonight. So I like Sun Devils in the series. So Bailey, let's go ahead and test your lacrosse knowledge. We have ASU versus in-state rival GCU, a couple of the top 10 club teams going at it tonight. Simple question, win or lose for the Sun Devils?
I think GCU is going to come out on top. You know, I think GCU's experience just kind of is too much for the Sun Devils to face at this point in the season. So I think ASU is going to take the L. On to wrestling. Zahid Valencia. He was named the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. His coach, Zeke Jones, Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Was there a correlation in those 2 awards?
You know, we mentioned Zahid a number of times on Cronkite Sports Live this year. This guy is such the real deal. A freshman who, like you said, Bailey, Freshman of the Year, was also Pac-12 Wrestler of the Year. He's paired up with a coach in Zeke Jones, who has received national recognition, the head of USA Wrestling. I mean, this is a dynasty because unlike college basketball players, one and done, Zahid has 3 more years of tearing people up at the NCAA level. These guys are going to be the real deal. They make each other better. Zahid even has his brother on the team as well, so that makes it all the more comfortable for him. There's definitely a correlation. These 2 guys were meant for each other. They're a great pairing. Let's go to the court, but women's basketball, they ended up a little bit better than the men's team this year, made it to the round of 32, then ran into a tough 1 seed in South Carolina. Successful season, though?
I'm going to say, yeah, it started off a little bit slow, but I think that it was really just telling. That loss by only 3 points to number 1 seeded South Carolina, it really just shows that this team is capable of so much with a little bit more experience under their belts. Now, from women's basketball, let's switch it over to men's basketball.
Sure, why not, yeah.
Who do you want? Who do you want to win?
Oh, I got to go with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Filled out 1 bracket this year, my only Final Four team. I'm riding them to the glory land. So I'm going Tar Heels. I think they're the favorite. They got the history behind them. I'll go the easy pick. What about you?
Well, my bracket was busted a long time ago. No Final Four teams, right? But so I'm gonna stick with the Cinderella. I'm gonna go South Carolina. I want to see them kind of go all the way. You know.
Okay. I'd love to see it. That'd be cool. They're staying at the Hyatt Hotel here in downtown.
Right downtown.
Phoenix. A little fun fact. All right, let's send it into the studio and see who gets to tell you the way it is.
I win. The lower third.
Got? What do we got?
The lower third.
Is it? Oh.
Small.
Oh my gosh,
but I
Bailey
win.
won it. Man, I didn't see that. Wow.
All right. Well, like many college basketball fans, March may be my favorite time of the year. The weather's getting warmer and flowers are blooming, and of course it seems that just about everyone becomes a college basketball fan. March is a time when the impossible seems more likely than not to become a reality, and miracles seem to happen daily, yet year after year it never gets old. The beauty of it is that non-sports fans become fans, and in a time when people seem to be disagreeing more than ever, I think that we can all agree on one thing. Come March, we all bond over the athleticism and thrill of watching 20-year-old kids lay it all out on the line, and that's the way it is.
All right, well said, Bailey. Gotta love March Madness, and it's time for our top plays. We start with ASU baseball. It's the athletic Andrew Shaps out in center field going into a slide against UNLV. What a nice catch there.
All right, let's see what we got next. Softball. I think they hit 4 homers against Oregon State this past weekend. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Michael Barron touched on that. Those seniors have just been raking. And our top play, we touched on it earlier. It's ASU track and field. This 8/100th of a second as the Sun Devils beat Arizona rather, in the 4x400 relay. What a crazy finish in that one. I might have to start watching some more
I know,
track
right?
and field.
Milliseconds make a difference.
Right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. That wraps up our show here on Cronkite Sports Live. If you're in the area, going to the Final Four, have a great weekend. We'll certainly be watching it here at Cronkite Sports. Follow us, though, on social media if you're trying to keep up with Arizona State sports throughout the weekend. Again, a big baseball series coming into town. That'll be a fun one to watch. We'll be bouncing all around. So go to cronkitesports.com for all of your coverage. For Andrew Chapman, Bailey O'Carroll, thank you so much for watching. Gavin Shaw, you're replaced.